Gerry, just a little over 3 weeks since you took over on the ice. The results are much of the same. The team is still performing at a high pace, but personally for you, obviously this is a big opportunity for you to be a head coach at this level. You've been a head coach before, but at this AHL level to prove what you can do as a coach.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity for me, personally. Things have been going well right now. Our goaltending has been solid. Our special teams play has been very good. So hopefully we can just continue on that path. But it's a great opportunity to prove that that we can win at this level. We can develop at this level. We've got a good balance between some veteran guys, but primarily younger guys. So hopefully their progress will continue to improve with every game, with every practice, and at the end of the day, we can get into the playoffs and do some damage.
For you, you were a head coach for 8 seasons in the ECHL. What was one of the things you had to learn early on? What the biggest adjustment to becoming a head coach, and how invaluable is your time in the ECHL as a head man to now your position here in the AHL?
Well, I think the ECHL is a great training ground for any coach that starting off professionally. First of all, you've got to do everything from immigration to housing to moving to recruiting to practice to travel to you name it. You do it all in the ECHL. Most times you were alone. I had the good fortune of having some great people to work with, so that lessened the burden a little bit. But you dwell upon your experiences, what worked well, what didn't work well. So I think that all of that has kind of rounded me, and especially working with Nelly, with Rob Baum, with Jeff Truitt, all these guys along the way have helped my development as a coach. Whether it was good, whether it was bad, but just through trial and error, things that they did well, things that they did that maybe you can draw upon in certain situations.
You mentioned Nelly. You worked with him you were in your 5th season as an assistant coach with him. You guys worked really well as a team. You and Rocky before he got promoted, and Tony this season. What would you say is your biggest difference in coaching from Nelly?
Well, I think the biggest difference is I'll show maybe a little more video before practice. Like from the night before, we'll show it as a group, some of the things that we did well, some of the things that we need to work on, and we'll have a theme for the practice that day. I think that that's something that I've done in the ECHL, and that's something I'll continue to do here. I think guys have to understand why we're working on things that we're working on that particular day, and have a theme so we can really focus on the things that we need to improve on for the next game.
In your 5 seasons here, you've kind of seen 5 very different rosters as far as the makeup of players between veterans, rookies, experienced guys, what have you. This season you've got a lot of rookies who have really come into their own over the last year and a half. You've got some veteran leadership in the room. You've got 2 very strong goaltenders. For you, it's a really nice roster to inherit as a head guy.
Oh, without a doubt. We're young. There's definitely a curve there, and guys are still learning and growing and understanding what it takes to be a pro hockey player. So, every year your roster's different. Some years you have a balance of veterans and rookies, and some years you're, maybe a few more veterans, and this year a lot more rookies. So every year is different. You go in every year, with a different approach, with a different mindset based on what your team's needs are.
In the last few weeks, the depth of this team, with guys going up and down between both Edmonton and Bakersfield, guys being injured. You've played shorthanded on several occasions out there on the forward side, and even overall you played 1 game down a body that you could have filled the roster spot of. How important is that depth of the team and the organization for consistent success at this level?
Oh, it's huge. You have to have depth. I think every organization, that's what they're looking for, because it's without a doubt during the course of the season you're going to lose bodies, whether to Edmonton or you're going to gain bodies from Bakersfield, and everybody's got to be on the same page. When those guys either go down or get called up or are injured, the guys that are coming in to fill it have to understand what you're doing, what you're trying to accomplish, and have the ability to do that.
This team has gotten a really good start to the season. You're the top team in the Western Conference right now. But it's just that, it's a start. How do you keep this momentum rolling throughout the rest of the season?
Well, and I say this all the time, you just focus on the process every day. You don't get too wrapped up in where you're at and where you're not and where you want to be. All you do is what we have to do that particular day to get better and get prepared for our next upcoming game. And when our game comes, we have to stay focused on what we have to do that particular game to beat that, or give ourselves a chance to beat that team that we're playing that night.
You played 7 seasons yourself as a professional. You were a physical player, regularly racking up triple digits in the penalty minutes out there. Some say the enforcer, the fighter role is a dying breed in this game. How do you see the evolution of the physical nature of this game and your philosophy as a head coach?
Well, I think fighting is definitely diminished, and you know, the role for that one guy who just went out and fought and couldn't really do much anything else, you know, the intimidation factor. I don't think guys get intimidated as much as they once did. I shouldn't even say that. Like, it's just a different world. You know, the game in the 90s is different than the game in the 2000s. The game in the 2000 teens is different than the game in the 2000s. So you have to constantly evolve. I think with more players coming out of college, more players coming over from Europe, where fighting is you know, banned almost. The skill level, so you can't have guys that can't really play the game, because if you do, you're going to get hurt on the ice.
Obviously, the end goal with any minor league sport, any minor league team, is development for the parent club, in this case the Oilers. How important is it to keep developing these young guys? There's so many 20-year-olds on this roster, early 20-year-olds on this roster, draft picks for the Oilers, to keep developing and keep feeding that team in the years to come.
Well, that's exactly what this team is all about. And it's about feeding the big team, having guys when they go up being ready to perform at that high level, the NHL level, the best league in the world as far as hockey is concerned. So you just have to continuously teach, continuously you know, help guys through tough moments. So yeah, it's all about development at this stage. But you know, I'm a big believer in truly you can develop by winning and create a winning culture and a winning atmosphere. And I think that's all part of players' development and growth as well.
All right, well, thanks for your time, Gerry. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, Carter.